We'll be looking to scale our funds practice by launching further funds and continuing to grow our US investment practice. So today we're at just over 100 million. For us, the next milestone is 200 million plus.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by EMV Capital CEO, Dr. Ilyan Ilyev. Ilyan, very good to speak with you. You're out with your interim results this week. Could you take us through the highlights for the period? Because it looked like a very successful period, big milestone. You passed £100 million in assets under management.
Stephen, thank you very much. That's right. I mean, the company has gone from strength to strength over the last few years, gradually and patiently building our model for investing in deep tech and life sciences, which, as you recall, includes generating revenues, recurring revenues from fund management fees, transactional fees from our corporate finance practice, but more importantly, investing in the companies that will define our tomorrow, whether it's in life sciences, deep tech, industrials, and elsewhere. This patient growth approach is now paying off. As you noted, we've reached 100 million plus in assets under management, but importantly, 41 million of this is in direct balance sheet holdings, as in this is directly owned by EMV Capital PLC, the balance being from investors.
So tell us how you achieved that growth. Where did it come from?
Sure. So the starting point for us was mid-2020 when Net Scientific PLC acquired EMV Capital. And at that point, we developed this new investment strategy of combining a little bit of balance sheet investment with the syndicated investments of EMV Capital. Through that period, the company has grown both in terms of its portfolio size, growing from 8 companies then to 70 companies now, but importantly, also growing the fair value of the group. And if we look at underneath that, at the end of 2019, the fair value of the direct holdings was roughly 12 million. It is now 41 million. And the fair value of the assets and third-party assets under management, it was zero. We just weren't doing any. It is now 65 million. So enormous growth. In terms of how we got there, was the building blocks of the EMV Capital strategy. It's proactive investment management of our portfolio. We're very close to the companies we work with, especially the ones where we have a bigger holding. The combination of direct investment and syndicated means we have more tools to grow value. We also have access to carried interest. And we also have the value creation services side, which enables us to work with or intervene as needed in companies that need some support to get them to the next stage. As a result, to talk some numbers, for the first half of the year, the revenues from the core, that is to say, PLC and EMV Capital and the corporate finance side, has increased to £1 million compared to 0.7 million, the H1 2023. This is profitable, and it is covering 66% of the platform costs. Very important. By comparison to some of our other players and competitors on the AIM market, we're able to cover a significant part of our costs.
You talk about a challenging environment in the commentary, Ilyan, but you still managed to raise 6.4 million in syndicated funding. How does that position you going forward into the second half of the year and also beyond?
Look, it's no secret that we're going through a very difficult realignment in the markets, and that's on many levels. Clearly, on a global geopolitical level, we all read the news, but in the context of our markets where we operate, we all know about the difficulties on the AIM market. But equally, the venture capital industry on a global level is going through a generational realignment, I would say, whereby the old model of investing in mostly digital SaaS companies has exhausted its ability to provide above normal returns. And the VC industry as a whole and the institutional investors behind that are realigning, reevaluating where they'll position their funding next. Our thesis is that what we do in the deep tech and life sciences space and the way we do it is a signature approach that will be a winner in the emerging venture capital space. So yes, on the one hand, it is a difficult environment. Companies are struggling to get the funding they need. They're having to pivot the investment models and to find more capital efficient ways of growing. You know what? We welcome that because that's exactly how we think about businesses in this space. And this is how we've been able to continue to support our portfolio. The 6.7 million that you mentioned, that has been focused on existing portfolio companies, helping the companies to anchor bigger rounds, such as the 3.7 million round we did with Sofan Technologies, or helping companies such as Deep Tech Recycling in the plastic waste recycling space launch their first projects. All of it is focused on real businesses, real fundamentals, with real products on the market.
You also talk about your strategic roadmap for the next 3 years. You recently went through the rebranding as EMV Capital. Take us through that strategic roadmap.
So I think the rebranding, it was the right time to rebrand now, because the different modules we've been building over the last few years are now there to be seen. I've talked about the proactive investment approach, syndicated capital light, but in addition to that, we have now launched our fund management practice. In May, we took over the fund management mandate for the well-known early stage VC from Cambridge called Martet Capital, adding 24.1 million pounds to our AUM. But in addition, adding a really strong selection of companies, some of the best early stage companies in the UK, to our broader portfolio, giving us more opportunities to invest. We also relaunched our ES investment practice. So that was, I suppose, the final bit in our model that we're now looking to scale. Within that, moving towards the single brand of EMV Capital enables us to show the market, look, it's one house, multiple playbooks, multiple tools, all of it working together to create growth to the next stage. So in terms of what's coming up next, we'll be looking to scale our funds practice by launching further funds and continuing to grow our ES investment practice. So today we're at just over 100 million. For us, the next milestone is 200 million plus. Importantly, as we grow our fund practice, the recurrent fund fees that come from that will continue to strengthen our financial position. And indeed, we've established a route to break even on the back of recurring and transactional fees. To simplify from a market investment perspective, we want to be in a position where you get the PLC for free, if you will, and you sit in for the upside of the investment. Now, how to maximize the upside? We'll continue to grow the value of our portfolio companies through proactive management, value creation services, all the good things we've been doing that we have demonstrated, and of course, driving the companies towards an exit. It's the combination of these tools that we believe will take us to being one of the leading VC investors in deep tech and life sciences in the UK and Europe.
Well, Ilian, I hope you'll keep us posted on all that progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Stephen.
That's EMV Capital CEO, Dr. Ilian Iliev.